what I hope to see at WrestleMania was the winner of this year's Royal Rumble versus Roman.
Yeah.
And well, we've already spoiled
it. We already spoiled it. It was
so
Edge.
the winner of this year's Royal Rumble did the '95 Shawn Michaels deal.
Yep, he came in at
number one and outlasted 29 other competitors.
And they did a great way of doing it too, where there was quite a bit of doubt that Edge was going to do it, especially towards the end. You were like, oh, it's going to be one of those. He gave it his best shot, but he'll still get a prominent thing at Mania.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I was glad they had the balls to go through with it all the way. I mean, what was really unexpected was they did Edge and Randy right away.
And that's why I didn't think that Edge was going to win, because I know him and Randy Orton still has unfinished business, and that's always marketable.
It is. So here's the big question. Does one of these two drop their strap to Randy Orton over the next couple
Negative.
Months? And I hope not.
Negative.
Because one, I don't want to see Roman versus Randy. Two, I do not want to see Drew drop it again to Randy. It would make him be like his jinx, you know what I mean? It would he'd be friggin', Randy would become the New York Giants to his
but
Patriots.
Then again, now that I think of it, like, you can easily sell this rubber match for a higher prize. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
They had the Falls Count Anywhere, anything goes at last year's WrestleMania.
Yeah,
then the greatest match of all time, which we did review on our channel. Go back and watch it.
Greatest wrestling match ever.
And then to have Randy or Edge versus Randy for either one of the titles.
Yeah. So I mean, you could do that, but I don't even think you need to. I don't want to see it. I also hope we do not see a situation. I really hope they don't cheap out and do this. I don't want to see one of those situations where Edge loses his spot due to some crazy shenanigans. I don't want to fucking see that at all.
Yeah, absolutely not.
If this is Edge's swan song, which I would assume it is, I think he deserves to go. I mean, it was so tragic the way he went out when he went out in 2012 that I think he deserved to go out on the way that he wants to go out. He's worked hard, and I honestly think last year at some point would have been the way he wanted to go out.
Right.
But he tore his tricep.
I know.
And it was unexpected during the match. Now, I think the whole point of putting him in the Rumble here protected him, but also tested his endurance to see, like, okay, will his muscles hold up?
Good point.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Rumble, what did you think of the men's Royal Rumble?
I thought the men's Rumble was even better than the women's. I really did. I thought the men's one had more of the classic Rumble moments. The only thing it was missing this year was Kofi's big shenanigan thing. You know what I mean? It
Kofi wasn't in it.
Wasn't in it, right? And I think if he was, you would have got it. But
of course.
It was weird, the choices that they made. We were talking about it. Like, you didn't see Adam Cole in it. You didn't see some big hitters in it. You didn't see Finn Balor.
There wasn't much of an NXT presence in this Royal Rumble.
No, there was only very few. Who was it? It was Damian Priest. And,
that's it.
No, there was more than Damian Priest.
Just Damian Priest is all I remember. Really? Unless they were in and out, which... I mean, what surprises did we get? We got Kane, which I called.
Oh, that was funny. Yeah, you called Kane right on the button. You're
like, right on the button.
You're like, is Glenn available? And boom, and there went the pyro.
We had Kane, Seth returning.
Yeah, Kane, Seth returning. Carlito,
who looked great.
He looked really great.
I think that was all the Christian, and Edge.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that was the only NXT person. Why would they just randomly put only Damian Priest? Like, you could have had Caden Cross. You could have had Tommaso Ciampa.
Johnny G.
You could have had Johnny G, yeah. You could have had... I was really surprised, to be honest with you, that Keith Lee wasn't in there, even though he wasn't NXT anymore. Or is he NXT again?
No. Yeah, come to think of it, like, I thought Keith Lee was going to come out at 30.
Yeah.
That was the one guy I was expecting to see.
Yeah,
same, he had no participation in this year's Royal Rumble at all.
No pay-per-view. Yeah, nothing.
And he's a big guy. He's a big man.
Yeah, and I mean Ricochet was in there, and he was just a phenomenal, just spectacle of watching.
I was worried that they was gonna job him out quick.
Yeah, and they didn't, which was great. I thought one of the things I really dug was, the stopping AJ from being eliminated with Amos.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. That was a great way to use an enforcer, like have him push you back in the ring like a lumberjack and like keep you from going out. But I also thought it was cool this year that they utilized someone on the outside eliminating people.
Yeah.
And he eliminated like 3 or 4 people that way. I thought that was really, really...
Because usually they don't allow managers to stay there.
Right.
And I think Michael Cole did a great job of pointing out that anything goes. Mm-hmm. So...
Yeah, he wasn't a slouch either. He like tossed Big E. He tossed Rey Mysterio. He tossed... who else did he toss? Did he toss... what's his name?
Who'd he grab out?
Baron Corbin, I think, maybe?
No,
that was Dominic Mysterio eliminated him. Who'd he grab out? I don't know. But, then there was the people in there, the obligatory people that you knew weren't going to do anything. You're like, oh, Dolph Ziggler. I'm a big Dolph Ziggler fan. I always have been. And then, they were like, oh, and here comes the dark horse, the Rumble, Cesaro. And I was like, never. I just said never. It's never going to happen. I thought it was just...
That's because we can acknowledge how great Cesaro is, how great he looks, how strong he is. Exactly.
He's an absolute booking black hole. And so, I mean, it had its moments. It had some of the eliminations. It had, it had a lot of good back and forth action. You never felt like it was dragging. I could say that about the whole pacing of the entire pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It never felt like you're like, oh, this is a piss break.
Right.
Like, at all.
Right. Like, the Royal Rumbles generally...
Yeah.
Like, I can't think of a bad one, really.
No. I mean, I it's my favorite pay-per-view of the year every year.
It delivers.
It always delivers.
It begins, fresh start, fresh new year, first pay-per-view of the year. It's almost like the formula that they have for it is damn near flawless.
Yeah. Like, even like Brock Lesnar, when I think about his title reigns, his Royal Rumble matches are great. Like, not his Royal Rumble matches, his matches at the Royal Rumble. Yeah. Like, him, Cena, and Seth, that triple threat was like one of the best matches that year. It was so good. I was shocked that they didn't go predictable at all. I thought it was great. Other than Edge winning, which I called, it still wasn't predictable. It was organic the way they got there, but I just knew, especially when we got to the Final Four, I was like, okay, the only name I can see here carrying WrestleMania is Edge. So I felt pretty good in my pick. But I like how they
couldn't see Randy Orton carrying WrestleMania, because as much as for you all that didn't see it, I'm pretty sure everyone that's listening to this has watched it by now. But so they had Randy Orton off camera milking a knee injury.
Yeah.
Due to a chair shot, so he was in the back most of it. And they tried to say every time they mentioned the length amount of time that Edge was in the ring, I would always make sure to remind Joey Business that so.
You're like, so's Randy Orton.
So is Randy Orton.
You're like, Edge hasn't been eliminated yet, and you're like, so's Randy Orton.
Exactly. And
you were right. You called it. And the thing is, though, I definitely remember when Orton came in, you were like, oh, where's Randy Orton? And all of a sudden, the moment you said that, Edge turned right around into an RKO as soon as he got the final elimination.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit. It was such a clean, flush RKO.
I know.
That I was like, oh, man, this is it. This is going to be how we go to Mania in a heartbreaker, because Orton's going to eliminate Edge to, like, really put that nail home. And luckily they did the switch about, and he just, boom, threw it out. And he just destroyed, Orton on the way out, which was great.
Yeah, man.
And they did a good job of, letting Edge soak it in and get that, that feel that, yeah, you're goddamn right. I'm back. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
No MF, or I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's a great comeback story. The comeback kid, Edge, the MVP of the Royal Rumble 2021, Edge, and I look forward to see how they're going to book him on the next upcoming pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, do you have him on the next pay-per-view, or do you give him a rest?
Oh, that's a really good question.
To me, I give him a rest.
I would, yeah. Seeing that this is his first,
I give him a rest because he's too look, as great aesthetically as he looks amazing aesthetically.
Yes, he does.
He does. There's age there though, and I say, you know what? Give him the rest. Book the pay-per-view around the other guys.
Well, can I at least get him on Raw for appearances?
Yeah,
and
of course.
Then, as long as they're able to
further the story,
going, then let's run with it. But yeah, guys, that was the.
What did you give the Rumble? Obvious 3 count. It was so good.
Yeah.
In the pay-per-view as a whole, it would have got an average of like a 2.75, if not a 3. But so that was for the last thing. So now traditionally the Royal Rumble winners come out and choose their opponent, right?
Right.
So the men and the women. Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind if WWE is smart, Sasha's going to get challenged by Bianca.
Sasha versus Bianca Belair.
Right. But where do you think they go with Edge? Do they go with Drew? And that would be very telling. If Edge picks Drew, that tells me they got something really big cooking for Roman.
I think that's favorable because I'm pretty sure that Edge is going to come back on Raw. Mm-hmm. But I would really love the promotion of an Edge and Roman, mm-hmm. because I would love the mic work between all three of them, Edge, Roman, and Paul.
Oh, it would be good.
Can you just think about the promo that Paulie's gonna do for that?
Yeah, and Edge shutting down Paul Heyman will be great. And Roman, as I'll tell you, Roman, I don't know what it is. He's obviously worked with Paul extensively. That's probably what it is. Roman has gotten so much better on the mic with this character.
Yeah.
He's more believable. He doesn't come off goofy. He comes off as menacing and as calm. And Roman comes off as a guy who thinks that he's in the right, that he's doing the right thing. Like tonight, you saw him beating down Owens, and he's like, I can't give up, Kevin. There's people that depend on me. Yeah. Giving up is not an option in my world. And, it tells the story. And so, you could build that whole thing around a desperate man.
His T-shirt says
the head of
the table.
Right.
And the way that he's portraying that on television is like it's a way of life.
Yeah.
It's a mentality.
Exactly.
He's all in. I love this. And I would love for Roman versus Edge because I want a white meat babyface against white hot heel.
Yeah, a red hot heel, yeah. So, what I could see is if they don't get The Rock, like I said, it'll be very telling who Edge picks. If Edge picks Roman, then you know The Rock's not coming in any capacity.
Right.
But if Edge doesn't pick Roman and he picks Drew, and that's the funny thing too is...
Oh, what? There's an X Factor. And
what's the X Factor?
The Miz!
Oh, God. Yeah, there is. No, so my thing is, what would I rather see as a program? And now you just sold me on. I would love to see Edge versus Roman over Edge versus Drew because I think the story would be better. Because what you could have is you could have a desperate Roman trying to hold on to his spot, getting angry that who is this guy way past his prime, already had all this glory. Who is he to come back to try to take my glory?
Right.
Who is he to try to take my spot? I will put you in retirement for good. And you can have that desperate Roman. But the good thing that would work with Edge is he's not just a white meat babyface. He's also a very dirty psychological player. And you could have him fuck with Roman really well. You could have him mess with Paul. There's a lot of history Edge and Paul can play off of. Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways you could go if you book Roman versus Edge, which I'm totally fine. And you get the obligatory spear versus spear.
Of course.
2 guys who can still do the spear
and really do it well, even though
Wouldn't,
Goldberg...
wouldn't you end, and I know it's early because, obviously the cards haven't been made, but wouldn't Edge versus Roman Reigns be the perfect way to end the show?
Of course it would. It definitely would. Like, there's no argument there. But you said you wanted a white meat babyface, so, like, ironically, you won't get any more pure whiter meat than The Rock. It's
Right.
the biggest story they can tell because, like you said, it's a way of life, it's a family affair, and to go full circle, you get Rock to try to unbrainwash the Usos.
But Edge is here, though. I mean,
No, I know, and that's the thing. So, like, you do that, but the other thing is, you're like, okay, if you don't get The Rock, you've got Edge, and that's your ticket. But when do you have Edge come out and announce? Like, do you just blow it off tomorrow night on Raw? Do you have him immediately come out and be like, I'm not waiting?
I think they can keep us on ice for a little bit.
Yeah.
I
For
think
how long?
We can roll into the next pay-per-view with this.
Because I think Mania is April 7th and April 8th this year.
So we can roll. We can roll to the to the next. I think you can keep us on ice and keep us on edge until then. Pun intended.
I don't want. Yeah, definitely a pun intended. All right, so I don't want to check the Google machine, but I have to on this one.
Of course.
So let's see here.
I think
Mania 37.
I think.
When is it?
You give us.
Okay.
His decision in February, late February.
Wow, they changed it.
And then you spend the next 4 or 6 weeks promoting that decision and building a story behind it and filming great promos and just working your WWE creative magic, because nobody is writing Edge's promos ever. And like, you give Paul Heyman the creative control to run this story, it's going to be golden.
All right, so
WrestleMania is are you sure
April 10th and April 11th.
Okay.
So that's a ways off.
Okay.
So right now, I think you got to keep us on ice. Otherwise, you burn yourself out really quick.
Yeah.
Because you got 2.5 months.
2 pay-per-views in between?
Yeah, 2 pay-per-views in between, 2.5 months to carry on. That's a long time to keep the audience's interest.
Oh, yeah.
So, you drag Edges out at least to the end of next pay-per-view, the Raw after, maybe. And that way you set it up.
Well,
you need time for The Rock. There's no way you'll get The Rock for like 5 or 6 SmackDowns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you also have to remember that I'm pretty sure that they're going to do something between Edge and Randy in the interim. So
yeah, I did think so too. It's not over.
So we'll see.
Do they do the stupid? I hope not. Do they do the spot where it's, do they do the I want your spot? I'm willing to put up my WrestleMania spot to get a crack at you.
If they do, it'll be incredibly predictable, and it'll just show that they're not. They're running on their last limbs as far as the creative direction.
Yeah.
If they want to do that, but I mean, they can sell it too, because Edge is on his way out, and this is like his last hurrah. So, anything to spoil the show, anything to spoil his last crowning moments, would be marketable and believable, I think.
Exactly.
So, we'll see. We just got to see. We got to tune in and watch. The Royal Rumble was a nice show. No dead spots.
Definitely
for
not.
me and Joey. And, we'll see the direction they go from there. You got any parting words?
Just that, it did what the past 6 months in wrestling has not been able to do, other than AEW. And AEW has been far from perfect, but they've been doing a lot better things than WWE. It's been capturing me week to week rather than this. WWE seems to be delivering. They're the reversal. AEW seems to be carrying the week to week better, but WWE has been seeming to carry the pay-per-views better, for sure.
Well, they have more.
They have more, but they're better. They're better. Like the Royal Rumble is, like, it's just better right now. So I'm like, okay. And this is where WWE shines all the time. Its road to WrestleMania is always a great succession of pay-per-views. It's always Royal Rumble is amazing, Elimination Chamber is awesome, and then you got WrestleMania, which is always pretty decent.
Right.
At least the hype to WrestleMania is amazing. The show of WrestleMania is not always the best, but like you said, I really would have to think long and hard about a bad Royal Rumble pay-per-view because I don't know if one exists.
Right.
So yeah, no, I'm excited. I think everyone should have the right to be excited again. Since they're going to do it, it says that they have tickets. They're doing it outdoor with fans. Tickets are still available, though. That's crazy. But we're in pandemic, so I think there's a lot of hesitancy to going there. And we'll have to see how the Super Bowl plays out, because that will be the blueprint for how WrestleMania plays out.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so
I agree. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for tuning in and watching. We'll be back soon at the next pay-per-view.